Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sippin and Trippin podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is friendships, the lack of, and everything in between, part two. I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is returning guest from the first segment, Miss Alison Caulfield. On this platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain. So, Allison, how are you feeling on this cold afternoon?
Doing okay.
All right. Better lighting for this segment. Yeah. So all right. So I believe the last time we left off, on the first segment, right? I said a real friend is someone that walks in when the rest of the world walks out. I'm not sure if we really gotten into that, right? So what do you take from that?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna say they go through the motions with you, but they're there, to kind of hold you up or help you navigate through some tough times that you may not know how to go through.
Right. Well, for me, that's a powerful message, man. Because like it says, a real friend is someone who walks in when the rest of the world walks out, right? Like so, a lot of times when we go through things in life, um, people we think that are friends or someone that we love or care about, maybe it's not reciprocated. Maybe they just, like you said, they just go through the motions. Maybe they just there for a moment, right? That's why they say some people come in our lives for a season, and some people come for a reason. Um, That's how we determine who real friends are. Because when everybody else turn their back on you, the people that don't, the people that keep coming forward, you could be burning on fire. The people that's willing to jump in that burning house with you just to try to save you. That's how we find our real friends in life. Because other people that's just like, oh, I ain't got time for that. Well, I got to save myself. Those are the people we got to control, alt delete, and get them the hell out of our lives. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what I get from that, right? Um. So let me say this. Before you come friends with anybody, you start off as strangers. You may start off by knowing each other, like by name or what they look like. Your relationship is still superficial at this stage. What's important is what's important is the impression, right? So like if they leave a good impression on you, that's what's important, right? A good impression um, piques our interest and it makes us want to get to know each other more, right? And with good interaction, you go from being strangers to acquaintances, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, because then you start to learn, about the person and where they've come from and their family background and certain things that they've been through. So it just you have to learn
Right.
them a little bit at a time. It's not all at one time.
Right. So for me, it's like, just to dive in a little bit deeper, it's like if you think about kids, right, at birth, they don't know right from wrong. They don't know too much, right? So they start to imitate and emulate people, places, things, whoever's around us, right? That's why it's important to when you have kids to only keep them around people that you trust around your kids and not just trust around them, just trust their judgment in general, right? Like because kids are sponges, right? So they emulate what they see. So if you don't want your kid to be all fucked up or exhibit these poor behaviors, then keep them away from people that exhibit those behaviors, right? Now, there's some people that might exhibit those behaviors, but they might keep it in check, right? And that's okay. If you know somebody and you be like, well, the way they normally act around, if it's just me and that person, I wouldn't want my kids to see that, right? But if they know how to keep it in check, then that's when you can sit there and say, you know what, it's okay, right? Same thing with animals. When we have pets, it's that bonding stage. It's what they're used to, what they're around. That's why a lot of people fear dogs and stuff, but like dogs are protectors. Dogs love their owners, and I don't care what nobody say. Unless you really abusing them, where they got to fight for their life. Uh, Dogs are loyal to the end, right? They'll never turn on you. That's just how it is. Um, So yeah, so back to what I was saying about acquaintances, right? An acquaintance is someone you know to a certain degree. You may exchange names and contact information, but you only use it for importance, right? Like for work related reasons. Um, You may make acquaintances because you enjoy making small talk at work or in passing. Your interactions are friendly, occasional, and polite. The more you spend time with someone and get closer to them, it may turn into a friendship. But like right away when you first meet somebody, you interact and you speak to them, that's not a friendship, right? So it starts off with like, just gossip, right? And if you see them from time to time and you talk to them, that don't make them your friend. That's an acquaintance, right? Is that how you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I think I was saying in part one, a lot of people can't distinguish the difference between, close friend, a best friend, acquaintance, a stranger or somebody that just there. They just when they're bored, and that's important. A lot of people, they come in your life when they're bored, or they might talk to you for their own amusement and go back and gossip about you and talk shit. You know what I'm saying? But to you, you might be like, oh, they laugh at my jokes, they this and that. But if they got ulterior motives or they there for the wrong reasons, it's not your friend. So it's important in life to understand what your surroundings, right? Um, so tell me about your experiences during your middle school and high school days.
Mm. So I was definitely like the type that was like a little bit more reserved. I didn't really talk to many people. I just kind of went to school and just kind of came home. Um, I did basketball. I forget when I started. I think it might have been sixth grade, maybe seventh. But it wasn't through the school, it was through the township. So it was a little bit different. Like it wasn't like super competitive. It was just like kids just, trying to go and have a good time and just, they would have like a little playoff at the end and then everybody gets like their little trophies and stuff like that. Um, so I didn't really do too much school activities. I didn't really do too much in high school either. I did do basketball. Um, and I signed up for softball, but I was only like um I was their like bookkeeper.
Oh man, that's not a sport.
So I took like I wrote down like who got on what base and how far they went or if they, struck out or anything like that. So that was another thing that I did when in high school. But other than that, I really do too much in school. I was like I said, I was definitely the more reserved person. I really, go out of my way to talk to anybody. I'm not going to be like nasty or mean to anybody, but I just didn't go up and be like, "Hey, how are you?" And I don't really know you. I just kind of, kept to myself.
Right. So yeah, so some of these questions might sound random to you, but like I ask them because it's a point that I'm getting to. It's like basic psychology 101, right? Like your upbringing and how you were in school, your interaction level, your popularity level, how you felt love, how you felt neglect. Those things are contributing factors to how we approach friendships later down the road in life. So, that's why some of these questions might sound random to you, but it's a point that I'm making. So speaking about popularity, rate your popularity level when you were younger, specifically during middle school and high school days. Were you clingy or were you detached as a person?
Definitely detached.
Mm,
Like I said, I just kind of, went through the motions. I had just, small little group of friends. It wasn't anything crazy, and I would just like go to school and come home, do my homework, and hang out with some of the kids in the neighborhood. I didn't really, have friends over that often. If they did come over, it was like later on. I want to say like ninth or 10th grade. They
right.
started coming over because some of them were a little bit older, so they were driving at that point. So they had like their own car. So they can come and pick me up, or we could go do something, or they would drive me home. Not that my parents lived far from the school, so I could always walk, but
Right.
once that started happening, I, had that stuff. But other than that, I would definitely say detached because
And so, and back to the first question. Like rate your well, it's not really a question, but like rate your popularity level. Like what one being not so popular and 10 being like very popular.
I want to say like a 4 or a 5. Like
Or
I'm like kind of like in the middle.
okay.
Like people know
So
like who I was. So like if I was walking up and down the halls, there were certain people like that you would see and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And I would just say hi or whatever and just keep it moving. So I would say like a 5.
okay, okay. All right. So um Studies have shown that having no friends over time can lead to high blood pressure, excess weight gain, muscle weakness, problems concentrating, depression, and many other things. Right, and to me, that's very interesting. And that's why in part one I was talking about, like the depression, like, and when we were talking about the importance of friendships, right? Like, if you think about it, like weight gain, muscle weakness, problems concentrating, right? And I think that's like your mind and your body is laying dormant. Like, it's you're not getting out there in the world, you're not interacting, you're not having fun, and that's where you get the weight loss, high blood pressure. Because, like I said in part one, your eating habits even change. You start to eat like shit, you know, and it's like you're not conscious of your body or how you feel, your health, or anything like that, right? So, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're just kind of
Friendships,
like going through the motions of life at that point.
right? So let me ask you this. This is interesting, right? Because when I come on this platform, I like to come up with questions that make people think, right? Like, so do you see your kids as friends, or do you draw a line and say, like, look, I'm your mother, I am not your friend?
So yes, you definitely have to draw a line, but there is a certain age that I believe that you can change that line a little bit with them,
Yeah.
and you
So,
can become more of a friend because you've taught them everything that you can teach them in life,
right.
and get them to understand rights from wrongs and all that stuff. So at some point, I think that you can transition
Mm-hmm.
from teaching them right from wrong and what they can and can't do, kind of thing, to being more of a friend where they can come to you and vent and you make them feel comfortable enough to do so.
Mm. So, it's interesting you say that, because you know how people say you're never too old to learn things, right? So when you say at some point in their lives you taught them everything you could, I mean, not necessarily, unless you don't agree with that notion that you're never too old to learn, right? So, you know, do you think that at some point in your life you're too old to learn new things?
No, I'm not gonna. No, that's not true because you can always, like you said, you can always learn new stuff every day. Every day you
So,
wake up and see something new.
same thing go with our kids, right? They can all they have we always have room to grow and to expand on our knowledge and understanding of things, correct?
Yes, and we're in our 30s now, so like our parents aren't really teaching us as much
Hmm.
as they were when we were little and we were kids, where they had no choice but to point us in the right direction and teach us the rights from wrongs. So now they have to hope that they taught us everything that we needed to know how to go through that. And
Right,
now it's kind of our turn to now do that
right.
and
And I
not
think that's go ahead, I'm sorry.
not make that stupid mistake that parents hope they don't ever make.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that society lost, we used to, like, back in the day, like, it's in every household, it was like a must, it was a necessity to teach the kids, to spend more time with them. But, like, that's one thing that's been lost, right? Because nowadays kids are, I mean, not kids, the parents are okay with their kids just being robots and just being on social media 24/7, and they're not teaching them the basics, right? And that's one of the ideals that have been lost that we need to bring back. You know what
Well,
I'm
it's
saying?
tough too because if you look now, like there's a lot of households that they can't survive on just one income.
Right,
So now both parents are out of the house, and now your kids are being left to, if they're old enough, to their own, device, or they're being watched by someone that's, not their parents. So it's a little different, whether it's a babysitter or, a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle. Um, it's different than a mom or a dad. So, um, that's where that comes in.
right. Give me 1 minute. I was texting my brother. Yeah, he wanted the link. I'm not sure if he wanted today's or tomorrow, so, like, I'm trying to figure that out right now. Um, yeah, then my mom called. I gotta make sure everything's okay with that. Woman drive me crazy.
She called me too.
All right, so I just sent those messages, and I'm gonna get back on topic. I just check my phone periodically. Um, so look, as I've said earlier, right? This topic for me is therapeutic, right? Talking to a therapist can help people identify issues that are interfering with their friendships, right? Um, and I know you and I are not licensed therapists, but isn't just having this conversation, isn't this therapeutic to be able to converse with somebody and speak about our friendship levels, how we feel? Isn't that the same thing as being therapeutic?
Yeah, because you're not being judged. You
Right.
just get to get your, your voices heard, and you get to put out, kind of how you're feeling without,
Right.
a-
So,
you
because
know,
it essentially, when you talk to a therapist, that's all you're doing. You got two people just talking, right? One talk about a problem, the other one talking about finding a solution to help you cope and get past it, right? So, like in a relationship or with a friend or um, as family, that's what you should do. That communication level is important. It's key to life. You communicate, right? And then the good people that's in your life, they should be there to help you get past whatever, right? And that's where I was going with that, right? When I said this is therapeutic, like even though this is just a conversation, I'm not talking about traumas or hardships or anything like that. Just talking about life and your high school and how your parents were and your relationships with this one and that one. It's getting it out, right? Because sometimes people be we what everybody really want is to be able to talk to somebody, right? And a lot of people don't have that, or they may have it, but they feel like they don't have that person. They feel like nobody cares to hear their story. So to be able to talk to somebody and get your feelings out and get your thoughts out, it's therapeutic, and that's what I was getting at, right? Like just so therapy is just one or two people or a group of people just coming together and just talking. That's all therapy is, right? Um, Now let me ask you this: why do you think that some people find it hard to make friends?
mm, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Mm,
Like some people are super shy or like super awkward around certain people, so
okay.
they want to stay more reserved or to themselves, almost like a turtle. They stay in their little shell and just keep to themselves and just move on about the day. So I think part of that is not, I don't want to say a problem, but that's how they view that, as like I can't make friends because I'm too awkward, or they're gonna look at me funny. I don't want them to judge me because I'm doing this or because I said that. So I'm just gonna sit over here by myself because it's just more comfortable for me to do that.
All right. So you basically hit on some of the things that
Mm.
I was already thinking, right? Like, because in doing my research for this topic, I found that the most common reasons why some people have a hard time making friends, right? Like, some people suffer from social anxiety disorder, right? Um, which is an intense fear of being judged, as you just said. Um, or some people fear being watched by others, right? Which they both can make it difficult to make friends or keep friends, right? Um, some people, like you said, some people are just shy, right? And when you're shy, that just leads to avoiding social activities, which also can make it hard to make friends, right? You follow me so far?
Mhm.
Because like if you have a hard time socializing, how can you expect to have good friendships? Because to have a friendship, that's a two-way street, right? It's not you just dealing with yourself, it's you dealing with others. And you need to be able to socialize, right? And that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to start this platform and this podcast is because it gives me the opportunity to socialize, right? And to get insight from different people, right? And that's how you make friends and that's how you keep friends, being able to be social, right? And also what I was saying about shy. When you shy people tend to do what? They tend to be to themselves and be reserved. So if you're reserved and you to yourself, and you're not putting yourself out there, you're not communicating, and you're just staying in the corner. It could be a room of 100 people. If it's 99 over here and you just over here, you can't expect to make friends, right? So that's why I said socialization, communication, all that plays a huge part in life, right? Um, so some people have personality issues. Some people see this is another one. This is another one that a lot of people don't understand. Some people are just pushy, right? Some people are too talkative or controlling, right? Which can be off-putting to some people, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, because then you're putting too much pressure on one person to like either be your friend or talk to you, and they're like, you are doing too much, you got to go away.
Mm. Well, let's dive a little bit deeper. So I was saying people that are too pushy, right? Like when I say pushy, what comes to your mind? If I say somebody is too pushy,
Like trying to like almost force you to be friends with them or talk to them.
or their opinions or their views, that could be also be pushy, right? Like they can, if you're having a conversation, or it seems like every time you have a conversation, there's somebody always trying to push the envelope on their beliefs, right? And they just, oh, this the way, this the way, this the way. It's gonna come to a point where somebody be like, I don't want to be around that motherfucker because that motherfucker ain't trying to hear me. So how can I look at him as a friend?
Right.
It's because that person in essentially what they're doing is saying it's my way or the highway, right? And that's going to make people standoffish, right? Um, Too talkative. Sometimes people talk too much because a good friend what should be a good listener and a good speaker, correct? So somebody that don't listen and they always want to blah 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 blah. You say if you stressed out or you going through a lot of traumas or you going through a breakup in life or whatever the case may be, and you're trying to vent to that person, and you like say you cry, oh, and they, oh no, well, wait, well, let me tell you about this. Did you hear about this? So to you, you're gonna feel like this person really don't care. They only making the situation worse, right? Not better, making it worse. So that's what I mean. People that's too pushy, people that talk way too much, and let's talk about controlling. You want to be? Do you want to be controlled? Because I know I don't. When I hear the word control as it pertains to people, I think about slavery. And I said, my ancestors, my people, we fought many years to get past that. I'm not gonna let nobody control me because guess what? I control my own destiny. Somebody can guide me in the right direction. Somebody can give advice, and I'm okay with that. But you're not going to control the way I think, the way I speak, the way I act. You're not going to do it, right? So if somebody's too controlling, I don't want them in my life. That's no, no. It's like they dictating every 2 seconds. Do this. Oh no, look, it's like being in jail, being in prison. They tell you when the lights go on. They tell you when the lights go out. They tell you when you can watch TV, when you can't watch TV. Who wants to live like that? That's like a caged animal. You take an animal that like a gorilla or somebody, an animal from the wild, and you put them in a cage and they in there 24/7. Guess what? They're gonna resent you. They're gonna hate you. They're not gonna respect you. They and every their thought process. How can I get away? How can I find freedom? So it's funny I said freedom because I said it sounds like let me put this comment up here. Um, yeah, everybody want to be free. Okay, free to love, free to act, free to think as we feel. Let me read this. I agree with that. Right. So,
Hi, Lady T.
Lady T. So nice to see you come back. So on part one, we was talking about introvert, extrovert, right? And ambivert, right? So another reason why some people may have a hard time making friends is because of introversion, right? Because introverts may feel left out and misunderstood in social situations because there's too much noise and not enough time for them to think. That's a bit right. Did you hear what I just said?
Hmm.
So like So if you're an introvert, like a lot of times you feel misunderstood, right, in social situations because it becomes awkward, right? Like because if you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to talk, or you always by yourself and you prefer it that way, then like I said, 99 people over here and you over here. That's socially awkward, not just on your part, but everybody else. They're gonna look at you like, what a weirdo, right? Because let's say you're in a room full of people, or let's say you were stranded on the island. And everybody's trying to say, "Oh, hello." They trying to come over to click. They trying to make friends. They trying to, you know what I'm trying to say. And
Yeah.
you see somebody exchange. They all by themselves. What are you thinking?
What's the matter with them?
Exactly. So introverts have a difficult time keeping or making friends. Right. So some people suffer from being rejected. Right. You might have said that word. I'm not sure, but fear is a big thing, right? Fear creates a lot of problems, right? And like so, if you live your life in fear all the time, it's going to make it hard for you to progress and move forward. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of people say life ain't about risk. Matter of fact, on my brother's podcast yesterday, he was talking about, or Lady T was talking about, she's a risk taker. You have to be a risk taker in life to succeed. And let me break that down a little bit before I move on. Everything a person do in life should be to the fullest, and that's how you progress in life, right? So if you got to take chances to progress, so let's say you at a job and you being mistreated, and you don't speak up for yourself. That's not taking a rest. That's you dealing with it. That's you accepting something that's not good for you, something that's unhealthy, something that's harmful. And that's the reason I say the word harmful, because if it's not good for your health, it's harmful. So taking a risk is standing up for yourself, right? It's levels to anything, everything in life. So you have to take risks. Look at these millionaires. How you think they became millionaires? They took a risk. They did what everybody said they couldn't do. They did what everybody said it wouldn't be smart to do. So you have to take a risk. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So fear is hard to get past, but it's something that we all have to, you know, try to get past.
Yeah. Some people
You
aren't
know?
willing to take those risks though. So that's why
Right,
they'll never, obviously go anywhere. I'm not going to say anywhere in life because that's like
right,
super dramatic, but
right,
um they're not going to get as far as they could because they're
right,
afraid of the repercussions if it doesn't work out.
right,
It's like playing the lottery.
right,
You put this $10 in, and if you don't win, well, there goes my $10. That's a risk
right.
too. Like, so there's certain people just in life that are just not willing to take those kinds of risks.
So I was about to say something, but let me say this first. When you talk the lottery, like people are like, "Oh, you're a fool. You stupid. You waste your money on the lottery." Let's say you win the lottery. Guess who get the last laugh? You. You high and mighty. You was like, "Oh shit, life is better. Life is grand." And that person that was talking shit, guess what? They got their hand out. They like this. Yo, you gonna help me out? I need some gas money. You think you help me? No. You're the same motherfucker that told me I was a fool for gambling. So now you want to take my money that I gamble with and my winnings, and you want me to help you? No. Right? A true friend does not pass judgment. A friend will recognize your faults and try to correct the situation with you, but they will not judge. Right? And Lady T last night on the podcast was talking about judgment, how she don't like when people judge. We should never judge anybody because nobody is perfect. So the things you judge somebody for, guess what? They can judge you too. So now it's two people. It's not just you doing this, pointing the finger. They pointing the finger back at you because you might be guilty of this. I might be guilty of that. Who am I to sit there and pass judgment on you? Like I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect in life.
Yeah, that's
So
why like the one podcast I was on with them, and I said you can't tell somebody what's right or wrong because what could be right for you may be wrong for someone else, and vice
right,
versa.
right, right. Right. Just yeah, right. It like a clear example is this. Somebody that's 20 can't drink by law. Somebody that's 21, they can. And you might look at it like, oh, my birthday's in a week, and you drink, and guess what? You get caught. Now you get a charge, and you say, you know what I'm saying? So it's right for this person, but it's not right for you. You know, so people need to understand that people need to really just like mind their own business. They need to worry about self and not others. And society is not built that way.
Yeah,
You
especially
know,
if it's not going to like what they're doing isn't going to change your world. Why does it bother you so much that you have to
right.
either consume your life with it, think about it so much, or get so
Hmm.
worked up about something that literally has nothing to do with you? Like it's
Right,
not
right,
going to make or break your situation. It's not going to make, make your life harder or easier. So just leave it alone. Just move
right.
on.
Now, before when I was talking about the fear of being rejected, right? Um, when people have the fear of being rejected, this can make people feel lonely, right? And it can reduce their confidence in making friends, because that's what I was saying. Fear is very dangerous. It's poisonous. We have to fight against rejection or the fear of being rejected. But you got to live life, right? Life is all about trials and tribulations. We live and we learn, right? So like, don't let's not fear things. Let's take those risks in life because I feel like risk is necessary. That's how we grow. So last night's episode on Chef Dennis's What's Cooking podcast, he was talking about, oh, touch that stove, you ain't gonna touch it no more. That's not necessarily true because some people they'll touch it again, maybe consciously or unconsciously, right? And that's that risk. Some people might be like this. Look, I know people that be like this. Oh, that hurt the first time. Let me see if it still hurts. Or maybe now that I got past the initial feeling, maybe it'll be better. And then touch it again, right? So it can be consciously or unconsciously. So taking risks is a necessity, man. Like it's a necessity. That's like, come on now. Like we're gonna move past that because I can go on and on. Um, so like I said, it's all about making friends, man. We need to be, it's funny. I always say this to you all the time. White people are carefree, where black people we are not carefree. The black community, we are too judgmental, right? Like if a black person can't dance, they be like, I ain't going there and dance. White people, they be off tune, off beat. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't know, but y'all don't care. Yeah, y'all don't care. And y'all just be having fun. Y'all enjoy yourselves in the black community. We be like, we just pass judgment. Oh, you this and that. Like I never heard like it could be like a educated black man, other black people be like, oh, you what's up, white boy? Right? Like, why do we gotta degrade our own people? I don't understand that. White people are truly like carefree. Y'all so jolly. Y'all just like it's
That
simple
was
when y'all
like
talking.
when we went to Gina's wedding.
Right. Oh my God,
That's
you
the
was
first
drunk
thing I thought of.
yeah, I bet that was. You just it can be fast song, slow song. Y'all just dance the same way. It's crazy.
I
Y'all do
was
the okey
dancing all
dokey
by
pose.
myself. I didn't care.
That's crazy. But black people, we just like shit. You ain't about to do me like that. Shit, I know I can't dance, so you try to get me to dance with you. That's what it was, and I was like, yeah, fuck that. But that's in all actuality, man. Like, and I hate to say it, but like in all actuality, for me, it's how people gonna view me. It's that so essentially it's that fear of being judged, and I got to get past that. Like I said, we as a community, we as people in American or humans in general, we need to get past that. You know, but I seriously be like, man, I can't do it. I don't know how y'all do it. Y'all do it without a care in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So back to on topic here. When we was talking about why some people struggle with making friends or keeping friends, right? Another reason is lack of time. As we get older, we have less time for developing friendships due to careers, marriage, kids, and other responsibilities, right? So if you are married, your wife or your husband expect a lot of time, right? And y- to the point where, like, if you go out and say, "Oh, I'm going out," it's a problem. Oh, You could be doing this, or I need this, or I'm horny. I want sex, and you want to go out. That's what you want to do. And you guilty of that too. I mean, you do terrible. You the worst. Not to throw you under the bus, but yeah. So and kids, I went from one kid to two kids to five kids. It's tough. You don't have the time that you want in life. But as adults, like we lay down, we have these kids, man. We got to face that. We got to own up to it, and that's one thing I'm struggling with because I'm never at home for my kids, and that's not by choice. It's because I work. That's why I said careers get in the way of friendships. When everybody else want to go out, you can't. You at work. Like, oh, I can't. I would, but I'm at work. You know what I'm saying? Um, what else? Like this, whatever is a responsibility. Like time don't slow down as we get older. When we're young, it seems like everything is fast paced, correct? Like that's how I feel anyways. When we're younger, everything's moving. It's a lot of moving parts and we have less responsibilities. But when we have more responsibilities in life, it's just hard. Like I come home every day, I'm like, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. I make a to-do list. If I put 10 things on my list, I'll probably do two. But then to me, I don't know how you feel, but to me, that's a failure. But it's not enough hours in a day. And I don't know why the world was created that way. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? What do you
Uh,
think about time being a hindrance to friendships?
it's definitely a hindrance because, like you said, we all have, unless they're in the same um, job that you're already
Mm,
doing, it makes it
right.
difficult because one, they don't always understand, like, oh, why are you at work till 2 a.m.? What is that all
Yeah.
about? And then you
Yeah.
can't obviously get up at 7 or 8 o'clock and go have breakfast or hit the gym or even just go, take a walk because you were at work till 2 a.m. So that part makes it
Hmm.
tough too when you don't have the same job, they don't really understand it that well. Um,
Right.
that's why I would love to have a Monday through Friday job. You don't have to worry about it.
You still would to a certain degree though. It depends on your hours. You see, some people work Monday to Friday with long hours. Let's think about a manager. Let's just say your job said, all right, I'll give you Monday to Friday, but you still got to work 10 hours. Sometimes more than that, depends on if it's busy. So you can't necessarily say life would be better if you had a Monday through Friday because you ain't say 9 to 5. You said a Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? So it's how long are you at the job? How much time are you investing at the workplace versus at home?
Yeah,
Right?
I feel like a lot of people nowadays, like, and I can only speak from like the couple friends that I talk to, like, a lot of their jobs are like a Monday through Friday. I don't know exactly the hours, but they at least have off Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
So it makes it a
growing up,
little different. It makes it easier for you to make plans to do this or go do that. Or I'm going to get off at this time, or, I can get up super early because I won't be at work till 2 a.m. or something like that. So it's, makes it a little
right?
different.
So, oh, I just learned something today too. I didn't know if I put the cursor over the who's viewing, it tells you who's viewing, and then next to that is Facebook. It's somebody left a like or whatever. It tells you who left a like. So I just learned something. That's very interesting. So I'm gonna start looking at that. Let me see. Yeah, that's very interesting. Um. Anyways, I just deviated what I was about to say. There's something that you said I was going to touch on, but I forgot. Maybe it'll come back to me. But look, to trust a new friend means opening up and being vulnerable, just as we do in relationships, right? Because a relationship is nothing but a friendship. Because a friendship is just a relationship, so they go hand in hand with each other. So to trust a new friend means opening up and being vulnerable, right? Now, a lot of people, they're afraid to be vulnerable, right? They look at it as a weakness. Um, so the fear of being disappointed or hurt by friends can also be a contributing factor to why people stay to themselves. You got me?
Yeah.
So this goes back to what I was saying about fear. It's something that people need to get past. Fear none. Live life.
Yeah,
What
because you
happens
have to
happens.
it's hard because it's like you're putting your guard down and just hoping that they don't hurt you,
Right.
whether physically or emotionally or any of that, like, you're hoping for the best at that point.
Right. So, hey, yo, Carl, Cass, whatever you want me to address you, appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you for liking it. Antonio, I appreciate you as well. You know, everybody else that's viewing, I appreciate y'all. So now I link this is my second week linking it up to Facebook and YouTube. So I see I'm getting a lot of love on Facebook. So that's very monumental and instrumental to the cause. Right. So studies have shown that until your mid 20s, you're regularly making friends. And after 25, your friendship circles shrink rapidly. Did you hear me? I see you texting. You heard me? Or you
Yeah,
need me to say it again, or you heard me?
go ahead.
No, did you hear me?
Just repeat it.
All right, I said studies have shown that until your mid 20s, you're regularly making friends, but after 25, your friendship circles shrink rapidly. Right? Do you agree with this, or do you think your personal circles shrink a lot sooner than 25?
Mm, so it's tough for me because obviously, like, once I had Vince, it was, like, a little different, so I didn't really have too many friends to begin with, and then obviously I was trying to take care of him and go to school, so it was like the couple friends that I did have, they stayed around. I didn't really it didn't shrink.
Right.
Um, but then obviously like life starts to happen and you're taking your kids to do this sport or you're going over here to do this birthday party or you have this school event or you have to do something for work. So like you're like we were saying earlier, like your life starts to get in the way of some friendships that you could potentially have or try to keep um, because your life is just, too busy.
Right. I got you. I got you. So let me ask you this: what scares you most about letting people in?
I want to say like it's like a trust thing. I don't
Mm.
want to trust someone with um certain information. I don't want to, divulge certain information to just somebody on the street. Like I'm not just going to walk up to this person that I just met at Wawa and be like, "Hey, you know what I did today?" They're going to look at you like, "What the hell is the matter with you?" Um
Right.
so I want to say trust. Because you don't want to get hurt in the long run. So it's like you're put up that wall and hope for the best.
All right. So let me ask you this: how would you describe what a casual friend is?
Casual friend. Um,
Hmm.
so someone that you talk to at like either like sporting events for your kids or some kind of school events for your kids, or even someone that like you see like at like a work function that you
Right.
only have every, couple months. But you talk, you'll text every here and there or whatever. So I feel like those are like casual friends. You're not going to divulge every little thing to them. You're just going to, be cordial to them and be able to talk to them and, friendly and, that kind of stuff.
I got you. All right. So yeah. So all right, this is basically what I was gonna say because look, casual friends, right? They share a common interest, right? They share like fun activities. They enjoy each other's company, right? Casual friends, right? That when we talk about them, you see them every once in a while and you have fun with them, but you never call them other than to talk about a breakup or something bad that happened like every once in a while, right? Um you just don't go out your way to see them, right? Because casual friends are defined by exploration, right? You follow me?
Mhm.
So like it's somebody that's like you feel like they're your friend, but by definition, they're not really your friend because you hold back a little bit, right? So a casual friend, like a casual conversation, it's like it's here and there. So a casual friend is just that. Like it's a part-time friend. That's how I would break it down. That's how I would define it. Um, hold on, make where my phone at? I gotta check my phone. Oh, here we go. 1 second. All right, yeah. My mom just texted me. I just want to make sure everything was good. She's like, she was just bored, wanting to have a conversation. So I'll call her later. Yeah, like I said, casual friends are defined by exploration, right? Um, so do you think that your approach to friends and friendship begins with your parents in their interactions? Like,
Mm,
when I say that, I mean like, growing up. Like, do you think that the way we approach friendships and friends starts in the household when we're young?
no.
You said no?
Mm-mm. I think it's a personality thing. There's certain people that just have that personality that it doesn't really matter like
Okay, I'm
how
glad.
you can go about it.
So I'm glad you said that. So this is the thing. So earlier when I was saying like as babies, when we first come into the world, we emulate the people that's around us, right? And we go off of what we see and what we hear, right? So like that's why I say your parents. Do you think that the way our parents interact and they socialize and they, you know, they maneuver through life, do you think that that's how we approach friendships? Because if we learn from them, because our parents, specifically mothers are the first teachers of civilization. Why are you smiling? You like
Yeah.
that? Mothers are the first teachers of civilization, right? So like with that being said, like the impressions, we was talking about impressions earlier through friendships, right? I think that like the first friendships are your parents because they introduce you to the world and they the ones that you see every day. They the ones that sculpt you and mold you into the person you are, right? People, places, and things make you who you are. So that's why I was saying growing up as a baby, adolescent, teenager, we live and we learn. We see firstly through our parents, right? That's why I said, do you think that how they interact and their behaviors, how they socialize, do you think that's a contributing factor to how we approach friendships later down, later in life? I know I
So
asked you that already, but like, and now that I broke it down, I asked it again.
yeah, no, I don't know. It's tough because everybody has their own like personality. So
Okay.
even if your parents, did this or did that or said this or said that, you're still gonna be your own person at the end of the day. So I feel like
Okay.
you'll still be able to make friends how you're gonna make them, and do whatever you're gonna do with your friends.
Chef, you put huh? Where do you say huh to? You got to help me out here. But finish what you were saying while I anticipate his response.
No, so yeah, so I understand where you're coming from, but we also, like I said, we have our own personalities and rhymes and reasons. Like, just like if somebody came, their parents were like very on the straight and narrow, never did anything bad. They were, you know, went to church every Sunday, read the Bible kind of thing, and then their kid winds up being a drug addict.
Mhm.
Your parents did everything they could to teach you right. You have to go forth and just figure it out from there. So I feel like your parents will give you some of the tools to make your friends, but
Well,
then you're
see,
going to go and do that.
that's a slippery slope when you say our parents do everything they could, right? Like, because whether you're a parent or not, there's a lot of things that people can still do. It's the willing, right? If you don't have the willpower to grow, and Chef Dennis on his podcast yesterday, he was talking about growth, right? And if you're not willing to grow, you're not you're not going to teach somebody else how to grow, right? So if you have kids, if you're not willing to grow and you have kids, the likelihood of them growing is slim to none. Not saying it's not it's not it's impossible because we control our destiny, right? Like so it might start off rough where we don't understand, we lack the understanding of things, right? But as we get older and we understand things and we go through trials and tribulations, it's at that point where we can sit there and say, you know what? This didn't work for my father. This didn't work for my mother. This don't work for me. I'm going to better myself, and I'm gonna try something different, right? So it's all when we talk about life, it's about willpower, right? A lot of people don't have willpower. Somebody like me, I got willpower. A lot of things in my life that I wish I could do differently, but at the same time, wish that I don't. It's not like I want things to change. If I had the ability to go back in time, I don't think I would change anything because then I could be a different person, right? Like I like the person I am now. Yeah, sure, it's a lot of things I don't like about my past, about my life, but that's those things are what made me who I am, right? So it's about willpower. It's about what you do moving forward. It's not about changing the past. I don't want to change my past. I just want to get better. I want to do better. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I said. Anything we do in life, it's about progression. If you ain't trying to progress and you're doing something, you moving backwards. Let me put this comment up there. Would you say willpower is courage? Um, yes, right? Because you have to have the strength, you have to have the courage to want something greater in life, right? And if you want that, that's that willpower, right? So if you to have courage, courage is about risk, right? Because
He
what?
says no.
No, I see this guy is a deceiver.
I think
He
he's
said he
saying no to Lady T's question.
maybe, but even so, I still have to call him a deceiver because he's trying to deceive people. Because people that have courage take risk, right? And when you talk about willpower, willpower is wanting more for yourself. It's wanting to be great. It's wanting to be better. And if you want to be better,
He
you what?
says you are.
Now he's
Because you
tripping. He
called him
going.
a deceiver.
I think Chef woke up from a nap just now, so I'm just going to just like leave that one alone. But this is the thing: when we talk about willpower, that's wanting more for yourself. That's doing the necessary things to be greater, to be better, and to do those things is what? It's taking risks. So when people take a risk, what do we say? You have courage, right? Courage and bravery go hand in hand. You was brave to take that risk. You have the courage to take that risk. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes. So what Lady T said, would you say willpower is courage? Absolutely. Because you can't like to have willpower, you have to have courage and everything. Chance
Chance.
what they say?
Oh.
Chance, not risk. No, my God. A deceiver. A deceiver. So he gonna have to, it's like somebody please, I don't care if it's him or somebody else, explain that. Everything in life is about risk. Let me say this right quick. If if somebody, like I said earlier, when we talk about jobs, and you had a job, and you sit there and say, "Nah, I feel like my worth is greater than what I'm getting paid, or I do so much, but the pay is not measuring up," and you decide to quit your job, that's having courage. That is taking a risk. That's not chance. If you take a chance, guess what? You taking a risk. If let's define the word chance. Matter of fact, Allison, look at the word chance and read that definition so the world can hear it. And then
Um,
and
the
right after that, I want you to
possibility
look up. Go ahead.
the possibility of something happening, the occurrence and development of an event in the absence of design, of any design.
Mhm.
Um, doing something despite it being dangerous or
Mm,
uncertain outcome.
You hear that, chef? You hear that, chef? Now let's look up the word. Please define the word risk. I am listen before you define it. Let me tell the world something right quick. I don't care what nobody think about me. I function at a high frequency, right? I am smarter than I look, smarter than you think I am, right? I pride myself on intellect. Like right, I play on words. This word may mean this word mean that. I put it together. I'm like, cool. And I come to my own conclusions, right? Like I can stand in the room with whoever I feel like, right? And like I said in a previous episode, that's one thing I got from my father. But we're gonna leave that alone. Go ahead and define the word risk.
A situation involving danger,
Mm,
the possibility of something unpleasant or unwelcoming happening,
mm-hmm.
a possibility of harm or danger against uh, which something is insured,
Mm-hmm.
a person or thing regarded as likely to turn out well or badly as specified in a particular content.
Okay. So essentially what you just said is, oh my God, this guy. Taking a chance, taking risk,
They're
it's
both
the same
dangerous.
thing. They both dangerous. They both. You take a chance of something, you take a risk. It's the same thing. What are we talking about here? Like I said, I like to conversate, I like to educate, I like to entertain. That's it. That's it. Talk to me. Uh where did I leave off at? Like, all right, let me ask you this. Um, I know first before I ask you a question, at the point where we talk about casual friends, right? We're willing to share more about ourselves, right? But we're only presenting the best version of who we are, right? Our connection with our connection with people is still uncertain. So we often keep them at an emotional distance. We're happy to spend time with them, but we don't yet feel comfortable letting them see us lose control or break down and cry, right? That's when we still talk about casual friends. You know what I'm saying? We that's what I was saying. We let our guards down still with a casual friend, right? So a casual friend is not really a true friend, is what I'm getting at, right? So let me ask you this. Are you a person that prefers to cry alone?
Mm, I think it depends on the situation, but I want to say yes.
Okay. Does it bother you, right? If someone sees you cry,
No.
you don't. So like if somebody see you cry, you don't have a care in the world, or what goes through your mind?
I mean, it's just an emotion that everybody has, and you can't really change that. You can't turn it off. And unfortunately, some people, expose it a little bit more than others.
I got you. Now, if I was to answer those first two questions, I would say this: like, am I a person that prefers to cry alone? I think it's situational. Um, because when we talk about friendships, or because some people, the deceivers, the devil, or people that's your enemy, they will use that against you, or they might poke fun to the point where it might make you act irrational and do cause harm in that person because they make a fun out of your emotional state of mind at that point in time. So I think it's situational for me. Um, do I prefer to cry alone? For the most part, yes, because like I said, it's that fear, right, that we talked about earlier. I don't want people to look at me like, "Oh, he weak." I don't want people to look at me like, "Oh, well, this is what it takes to break him down." Nah, I'm not giving nobody in my life ammunition to bring me down, right? Because I'm about trying to prosper and make better of my life, right? Now, the second part of that was, does it bother me if somebody see me cry? Yes, for that same reason. Like I said, that fear makes me think that like somebody see me cry, they gonna tell somebody else, they gonna make jokes. And listen, certain things in my life, I don't take kindly to jokes. Right? If it attacks my emotional well being, nah, it's war for me. So yes, it bothers me. That's just me. Cause I told you in part one, growing up, I used to feel like the world hates me, but now I don't feel that way now. I don't have that same notion, but I'm not going to give people ammunition to crack jokes on me, right? Because when I'm vulnerable, I'm at my weakest. and you want to poke fun and make jokes. Nah, now I want to fight. That's it. But guess what? At the end of the day, let's say we fight. What's going to come out of that? Somebody going to get fucked up, or somebody going to get locked up, and I don't want neither. Read this right quick. Fear false evidence appearing real. I don't know what fear false means, but I kind of want to say I understand what you're saying, but I'm not. You gotta help me out a little bit. Um, so let me
I
ask you
think
this.
she was just trying to say
Um,
false evidence appearing real.
I don't know, maybe she'll send another message, but let me ask you this: Is crying necessary? Is crying a necessary thing, or do you feel like crying is a weakness?
It's not a weakness. Everybody does it at any point, you know.
I'm not
Um,
saying. So, do you think that's I said? Do you think it's necessary to cry, or do you look at it as a weakness? Right? You say it's not a weakness, so you feel like people that feel like they need to cry should let it out. That's what I
yeah.
mean by a
Mhm.
necessary. Okay, I agree with that. Right? Because when you bottle things up, you bottle your emotions, your feelings. Eventually, it's gonna be like a volcano. You're gonna erupt. It's
And
like a ticking
sometimes
time bomb.
crying like is from like being sad, but sometimes it's in anger too.
Mhm.
Like you're so angry that you don't know how to control it, so you just start crying, kind of thing. So
Gotcha.
it's not always about being upset. It's, or sad because something happened. It could be, something
Right.
just made you really angry that you have no other emotion at that point except to just cry.
Right. Right. All right. So let me ask you this: How would you describe a close friend?
I mean, I think we said this on part one, like someone that you can, confide in and you can talk to about pretty much anything, and they're not going to judge you, and they're not going to, months from now or years from now, they're not going to be like, oh, back in October of 2014 when we were talking about XYZ, you're really stupid, or that was really dumb, or whatever the case is, or make fun. um
Right.
they're not going to bring it up again. It's going to be squashed and just left alone.
All right. I got you. So look, close friends, right? When you're close friends with someone, it means you've accepted them into your inner circle, right? It may take a long time to reach this stage, since a strong bond of mutual trust, commitment, and comfortable sense of familiarity is usually needed, right? Most of us may be careful about who we let into our lives, who we allow ourselves to be vulnerable to. So for me, it's all about vulnerability, right? Like, if you can't be your true self 100%, if you don't see yourself being vulnerable to, with somebody, then to me it's not a close friend, right? Because when I said earlier, like, to be a close friend, it's a bond. You got to have connect that connection. You have to be able to tell them whatever without a care in the world. You have to be able to say something to somebody without feeling judged, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Um, so they say blood is thicker than water, right? But let me ask you this: Do you think it's possible to love a friend more than family? Think about it, because when I was talking about this topic, I was like, that's good, that's powerful.
So read that question again.
I said, people say blood is thicker than water. Do you think it's possible to love a friend more than family?
If they've been there for you more than your family has, or understand you a little bit more, I could see where that could come into play. They
Mm.
don't judge you like some family members. They might judge you. They might be like, "Oh, you did this or you did that. You're stupid, or you shouldn't have done that." And now they're judging you, and it's making it a little bit more difficult. So I'm gonna say yes.
So let me ask you this: So when we talk about family, do you think that they're judging you or trying to fix and correct a bad situation? Because hold on, because I think family are and should be a little bit more hypocritical than your friends or people that's outside of blood, right? That's how I feel. So, do you think it's more so of them trying to correct a bad behavior, or do you think that they're judging you?
I mean, it's tough because once you get to a certain age, like you correcting my behavior now is not helping.
Mm.
Like I'm 36 years old, so if you're gonna try to correct a behavior that I'm doing, good luck. That won't happen.
I got you. I got you. All right. So, hold on. That better get to me a little bit. Um, Listen, you can always count on a good friend to be there when you need them. They cheer you on, they listen to your rants, they're part of your weekend and your summer plans, right? Casual friends, they may come and go. Close friends, they may drift apart. But best friends stay forever. They're the ones that you trust the most. They're the ones who stood by you from the very beginning, since day one. They're the ones whose happiness is just as important as their own. Like, I think I messed that up a little bit, but their your happiness is just as important as theirs. That's where I was getting at, right? And that's how you know you have somebody in your life that's special. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because they're not gonna, push your feelings aside to make themselves feel better kind of thing.
Right. I just want to put it up for you. False evidence of being real. FEAR. Oh, fear. False evidence of being real. I got you. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna start using that. I ain't gonna lie. False evidence of being real. uh, I like that. So I love acronyms, man. Sometimes in life, man, people say something, and I'm like, yeah, I like that, and I had to write it down. Like a couple episodes ago, I forgot what episode it was, and I was telling my brothers spiritual. It was spiritual deceit when I was at work on a Sunday, and this guy spoke to me. He said something. I had to write it down. I actually had to tell him, rewind, tell me what you said, because I got to jot this down. And he thought it was the craziest thing. I'm like, no, I like that. It's a powerful message. And with him being, I don't know if he's 100%, but he appeared to be. He was like, "Oh, all right, no problem. Like, I believe in God. If you like that, and you say you got to use it, that means you're going to spread the word of God." So I had to write that down, right? So, let me ask you this: why do you think people we trust are so judgmental?
Because they want us to do better, to be better. So they
Mm,
they judge us a little bit more um, than I feel like some people should. Um, but they want us to be on the right path and make sure that we're doing the right thing, and not necessarily that they're going to change that path, but they're still going to let their opinion be known.
right. All right. So why do we think? Why do you think people we trust are so judgmental? I'm trying to think for myself here, like. Because when I say that out loud, the first thing that comes to my mind is family, man. Like I don't understand my family are so judgmental, right? Because my family are far from perfect. So like my family are highly judgmental when they got skeletons in their own closet, right? So I don't even know how to answer that myself, to be honest. I mean, I would like to say jealousy, but it's like jealous of what? Like it's a lot of things I could say. Some people in my family are better off than me, so I'm like, jealousy don't really apply, so why is people we trust, why are they so judgmental? I don't know. I think maybe alright, now that I think about it, I think it's because they is one of two things. They think that they are better than, right? And more successful. So it's like at work. If you go from line cook to manager to a corporate guy, you forget where you come from. I think that's one of the things that why people are so judgmental. They forget where they come from, right? the other thing is, it has to be jealousy. It must be like, or it might maybe no. Matter of fact, we go. Let's go back to when we talk about fear. People fear of being judged. People fear other people. If you are better than them, or you're more financially sound, or more spiritually sound, and they want to be there, but they're not there, I think that's why they judge people and they're so judgmental because of jealousy. They want to be somewhere where you are currently. That's what I think. Right. So that's how I would answer that.
Really
Uh,
quick, Candy just liked your video.
Interesting. See, I got to figure out how I can see that because wait. Matter of fact,
It should be at the top of the screen.
it is up there. I can see that. Look at you. I'm figuring this out. Just ain't you figuring it out. Like you terrible. You terrible. Anyways, um, let me ask you this: if a friend is in need and they ask you for money, is there a limit to what you do for them? Right? Um, or do you help them as much as you can? I think that's a very very good question. And I'm gonna say it again before you answer. If a friend asks you for money and they're in a time of need, is there a certain limit as to how much you help them, or do you say that's my friend, that's my true friend, and you will help them at all costs, like a family member? Ah, good question.
So it depends on like a dollar amount or my time being spent.
Okay.
So like if they come to me and they're like, I need $1,000 because I have to pay my rent or I'm going to be kicked out of my house, of course I would try to make the proper arrangements to do that. But um, I don't want to put myself strapped, and have to, then be struggling myself because I help them. So it's a little tough. I would probably put some kind of a cap on it and be like, I can help you halfway. You might have to get the other half from, somewhere else or whatever the case is. But um, it all depends on the circumstances. And
I
before
got
my
you.
phone dies, I want to read this definition. And I think this is what Chef Dennis was talking about. So I
Uh-oh.
looked up the difference between chance and a risk.
Okay. Oh God.
So
Let's get it.
there's only one thing on here. It says the chance is associated with a desired outcome, while a risk is associated with an undesirable outcome.
Mm.
So they both essentially they're different. And I think that's what your brother was getting at. Like one is an outcome that you want, the other
Right.
one is an outcome that you may not want.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what your brother was getting at.
See, and that's where he should have either jumped on or he should have commented on or elaborated on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, because now if that's not what his thought process was, he heard he listening right now, he's going to jump on the bandwagon. Like, yeah, yeah, she know what I'm talking about. Like, that's why I give everybody opportunity to speak their mind.
I gotcha.
And so, I'm gonna continue talking. She had to step out. Sometimes the kids knock on the doors or whatever the case may be. They, kids. Like I said, we have multiple. We have responsibilities. Um, but she will be back. And again, I'm gonna say this. Like I said earlier, I appreciate everybody that's watching. Facebook, YouTube, whatever, man. Like I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep the move. Y'all keep the movement going. And I just realized, like, what, yesterday, that I have more subscribers on YouTube, and I appreciate that as well. I don't know who you are, but the numbers jumped up, and that's important. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good. It makes me feel like I'm giving content that people are interested in. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, man. Friendships, man. I don't know how you guys look at friendships, but friendships are extremely important, man. It's I feel like, it's the balance of life. Oh, she
Yeah,
has
some
returned.
people just have a tough time making friends, and that's kind of where that comes into play.
All right. Everything all right?
Definitely, yeah.
All
I've
right.
definitely been always that type of person. had a hard time making friends.
Oh, see, that's what I was getting. That's what I was saying earlier. That's why the questions I asked, it was trying to get a better understanding of your childhood or your upbringing, because like your household, your school, everything like that, it plays a part in how we have friendships. Because friendships, like I said, is just about relationships.
Right.
Um, so yeah, the
Yeah.
kids are quiet out there.
Yeah. I think the two are sleeping and then Jello's just watching TV. The monster will be home in like 20 minutes or so.
See, I'm used to having these things at nighttime. So when you said the monsters be home, I looked at the time. I'm like, he ain't home yet. But yeah, no, he ain't home yet.
No, he
But
gets home
all
like
right,
3:45 ish.
all right, yeah. So this is a good thing Jalo's still awake because if he wasn't, he would have been knocking at that door. He would have been saying the same redundant stuff he say every day. Uh, I love him to death though, man. That's the thing. When I be at work, I be thinking about my yo. He's a pain in the ass, but I love that boy, man. I do, man. It's nothing like kids in your home, man. Your kids, man, like when you have multiple, they all have their own personalities. They all have their quirks. They all have their little positives, their negatives. But at the end of the day, a real parent, a good parent, we love them, man. There's nothing that we wouldn't do for them. And it's crazy because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'll die for my kids," but if put in that situation, they wouldn't do it, man. I really feel like I wanted them, man. Like, do I want to die? Hell, fucking no. But if it was an ultimatum between me and my kids, man, my kids gonna live on, and at least I had half my life. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. And that sounds a little bit morbid to some, but like that's I don't know, man. My kids, because for me, let's say we were stuck in a situation or put in a situation where it's them or you, and you said you chose yourself. That's gonna haunt you the rest of your life. You're gonna miss your kids. You're gonna cry for your kids. You're gonna cry over your kids, right? Like so, yeah, man. Kids are important, man. So a good parent. So, all right, moving on. So we talked about acquaintances, we talked about uh casual friends, we talked about best friends, right? So like intimate friends. Let's talk about intimate friends. So intimate friends share a deeper level of connection, right? Than the close friends do. Right? Intimate friends. And a lot of people will get it misconstrued. They think that intimate means sex. It don't mean sex, right? Intimate is just it's just a deeper, how can I say this? A deeper connection, right? That's when it's intimate. You can have an intimate conversation with somebody and it's not even sexual, right? So intimate just means deeper, right? So intimate friends, they keep your deepest, darkest secrets, right? And they know things about you that no one else does. You're not afraid to speak your mind around them because you feel like you have nothing to hide from them. You feel comfortable letting them see you at your rust and your most vulnerable. And and I made sure I said the word rust, man, because I like to play on words. I like wordplay, man. When things rust, right? It's on its last leg, right? It's deterioration, right? So that's what I said. You're rust or you're most vulnerable. And when you can be that way around people and not fear or not think about how they're going to view you or how they're going to feel or if they're going to judge you, right? Then, like I said, now we get into the realm of real friends or best friends, right? Because friendship should be of high, it should be a high point of existence. You know what I'm saying? It should be one of the highest things of civilization. Like because earlier, like I said, like if you don't have a friend, if you don't have friends, it's like it could lead to all kinds of unhealthy circumstances, like I said, muscle weakness and weight gain and poor eating habits and things like that, right? So let me ask you this: What is the purpose of friendship?
I don't know. It's tough to say. To keep you busy, to keep you sane, to help you through, certain things. So, like a built-in therapist almost.
Mm,
That they kind of guide you, or give you certain opinions, or like views that you may not have even thought of. Like you could tell them like, "Listen, I was through going through this situation and I'm not really sure how to handle it." And it could be something
right.
that you didn't even think about. You're like, "Oh wow, that was actually pretty good." Like never would have thought of that.
All right. Right. All right. So for me, I would say the purpose of friendships are for networking, reassurance, fun or having fun, and you know what? What's more important for me is friendships. The purpose of friendship is clarifying our minds. Right? Do you get that? Or you understand where I'm coming from?
Mhm.
Like clarifying our minds, right? Because it's hard to think as humans. It's hard for us to think on our own. Now, some people might be looking at me like, "Yeah, I know how to think on my own," but like, listen, just bear with me a little bit. Um, the human mind is skittish and all over the place. We feel angry and we don't know why, right? The thinking friend holds us to the task, right? They ask the questions that act as a mirror to assist us with the task of knowing who we are as a person, right? So what I mean by that is like sometimes we go through these emotions, we have these emotions, we feel these emotions, and we don't know why we feel them. We don't know why we're angry. We don't know why we're sad. But our friends is like the mirror, right? And I say that because what's a mirror? When we look into a mirror, what is it doing? It's reflecting who we are, right? So a friend is somebody we trust and we let into our circle. So true friendship is a mirror for us to understand who we are because of the socialization. So when we divulge to them what about our feelings and how and our thought process, they help us navigate through that. It's like what I said earlier about a therapist. A friend is nothing more than a therapist. They help us channel our anger, our emotions. They help us be better people, right? You agree with that?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I think friendships are important. That I think that's the purpose of friendships to help because friends should help you see who you really are. Because in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. You can't say, "Oh," you look in the mirror, you're like, "Oh, I see you looking at me, but that's not who I am." No, you look into a mirror. Guess what? That's who you are. That's your identity. So when we talk about friends, they're gonna show you who you really are. They're gonna tell you who you are because they know what we say before. They know your secrets, your deepest, darkest secrets. They know you. Sometimes your friends know you better than you know yourself. You know why? Because sometimes as humans, we're in denial. Because people that's in denial, they fear something. They fear how they're gonna be viewed. They fear people's opinions. But your friend is not their life, so they don't have that fear. So the only thing they can do is correct it. The only thing they can do is tell you about yourselves. Sometimes in life, we have to have those uncomfortable conversations to be comfortable in life. Yeah, I got to use that as a quote because I just sit there on the fly, but I love it. Sometimes uncomfortable conversations help you be comfortable with who you are, your reality, right? And that's what I mean by friends are a mirror to help you see yourself for who you really are, right? Um, so I see you smiling. What was your thought process?
I mean, life is like a roller coaster ride. There's a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns, and there's, certain avenues that you may have not wanted to go down, but either they helped you go that direction or you helped yourself go that direction. Whatever the
Right,
case is, there's certain, situations that you've gone through that your friends definitely helped you either get past or even go in that direction because you weren't even going to go that way to begin with. because you were
Right, right, right.
either afraid of doing that, um, or too reserved to do that. You didn't want to take
Right,
that
I got you.
risk.
So yeah, so like I was saying, man, I think friendships are the balance of life, right? Friendships hold an exceptional place in our life stories, right? Because everybody have a story, and a story ain't a story without what plots and details, right? So your friends are those plots and your details in your life, right? So it's a lot of moving parts of life, man. So yeah, so having friends or they that's the balance of life, right? Because without friends, right, the scales of justice. Look, let's think about the scales of justice like this. So you have this my right hand, which is here, is negativity. My left hand is here, is positivity, right? It's so no having no friends is negative. You see what I'm saying? So there's no balance there. When you have friends, guess what? Because when I said we can't, we a lot of people we struggle with thinking for ourselves, right? So if you don't have friends, the whys, you will never understand the whys without the questions, right? So you ask the questions. If you ask the questions, if you don't have nobody to explain the whys, guess what? The scales is off. So friends are the scales in the balance of life, in my opinion. Right. And I hope a lot of people understood what I was trying to say right there. You know what I'm saying? So because a best friend should be able to turn any situation, and I mean any situation, into a good time. They should always be on the same page as if they can read your mind. Sort of like twins, right? And they say twins, they know each other better than anybody else. They can almost read each other's minds, right? So twins is like the perfect example of friendship or real friendship. When you get to that stage in your life, when you talking to somebody and just like before you say it, they can finish your sentence, you know you got something special. And that's a friend. You know what I'm trying to say?
Hmm.
So before we conclude, anything else you want to add about friendships, the lack of, and then anything in between?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. Well, it's 3:34. Jane will be here shortly. So yeah, I'm gonna say this concludes today's episode. We hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure you tune into next week's episode or tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow I have an episode tomorrow about spiritual deceit part 2. Right? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love everybody. Peace, love, happy crease, and we out of here.
All right, guys.